Hey guys, this is Chuck82, and I just want to sit there and say, watch my videos, comment, subscribe, and remember, it's always good to. Now I can't do this shit. And you guys might remember that from some of my videos where I was doing uh, YouTubers of the past. So there's Chris Crocker. You remember Fred? Hi, this is Fred. And yeah, those people. And there's no dog hate toward them. I mean, you have all these different people who put social media out there. Hell, I'm one of the pioneers. Hell, my channel has been on here since like 2009. So I've been around this YouTube thing for almost 11 years. So I know about the whole concept. But what this video is really about, it's about the horrors, the horror of social media superstars. Well, I'm doing a video basically reviewing a movie called Deadcon. And I was going to do a video about Terrifier. I actually did a little quick video where I was talking about how good the movie is, and it's an awesome movie. This movie right here, yeah, it's not necessarily bad, but I'm not going to make it look like it just because I'm doing that. But with Terrifier, it just was a good movie. I'm a huge fan of slasher movies. I love movies like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, you name it. I love slasher movies. But this movie right here is, of course, dealing with more of a supernatural feel. Basically, the movie Deadcon is about YouTubers being hunted, I guess you could say. Or people Instagram stars and all that. Well, let me give you a synopsis that word of this movie. It's the horrors and isolation of being a social media influencer run rampant when a collection of YouTubers as well as Instagram stars soon discover there are things scarier than thousands of teenagers armed with iPhones to X4 selfies. This is like so crazy. This is like, what the fuck? Becky, look at her hair. Okay, anyway. So, to put this movie in context, basically, the movie's built around people who are on YouTube and, like me, I'm on YouTube, but I'm not all the way out there in the atmosphere like that. I'm not the PewDiePie and all that shit. But basically, what's going on in the movie is basically you're dealing with these people in a movie where you have this guy from like 1984 who was trying to get a start of an internet company or trying to get some things going on with his company, and he gets kicked in the ass. They tell him, "Fuck it, boo boo," and all that stuff. The movie itself doesn't get to too much detail about how the guy ended up getting to this point of it being a supernatural movie. Basically, it's kind of like you scratch your head to like, okay, why is this stuff happening? But it really doesn't give you a clue because basically, when the movie first starts, you see him on the computer. Of course, they show an old CRT like style monitor and so forth, where he's on the computer and doing the stuff, and then the guy tells him that they have to stop his program that he's trying to do, and he's like, I gave up my whole family's life savings and all that shit. And of course, then they go to him, his eyes go in the back of his head like that and stuff, and then he's like, and it shows blood. Then you go to present time, I guess, and then all of a sudden they go to a hotel because it's like a thing that's called ViewCon, which is kind of like Comic Con or something like that. It's kind of doing like a little con thing. So, of course, the name of the title is Deadcon. But anyway, so they go to a book in a hotel to basically get ready for the venues and whatnot for 3 days. And you start to see weird shit happen. Basically, the hotel guests basically are supposed to go to a room. The room is double booked, and then they are booked. Of course, they tell them that there's no more rooms in the hotel and whatnot, and they basically are stuck up as. Basically, I'm gonna be honest with you. The characters, you can't feel for none of the characters in this movie. Um, in most horror movies, you have that one, maybe two characters where you actually have some kind of heart for, and you don't want them to be killed and all that. In this movie, you really could care less because they're all like stuck up, pretentious ass people who just feel like the world is theirs and it's owed to them and all that shit. And like, I understand, like, you have a lot of YouTubers that make a lot of money on here and this and that, but they are like top notch, over the ass assholes. And when they get killed one by one, it's not really even, you're not really like feeling for them being killed. Uh, Basically, they get booked because they're forcing the hotel people and whatnot to book them into a room at the hotel. So they book them into room 2210A. At first, they thought it was 2210, but they want 2210A. Now, this is where the movie actually starts to seem like 1408, which is a way fucking better movie in all ways, in every fucking way. They even have in this movie like a black hotel rep or something like that that kind of reminds me of the Samuel Jackson character and so forth. But it's like they go to the room, get all the shit out and whatnot, and of course, eventually you start seeing weird shit go on. Um, the person that's in the hotel and so forth, where it's like you sit there and look at like, well, what's going on and all that shit. So basically, one of the characters in the movie is Ashley. Ashley ends up getting like dragged into a closet. And by the way, before I go randomly about the video in general, the boy, basically the guy ends up kidnapping these kids, and the boy in the movie is called Bobby. They show a timeline of 1984, so you know when the whole situation started to happen. So the guy created a site called Link Rabbit, something like that, and it kind of went into this like whoopity whoop. Basically, he made a deal with the demon, of a demon or so forth. The demon basically was Bobby. My name is Bobby. But here's the weird thing about it. If this was a demon named Bobby, why did they show a boy named Bobby that is apparently shown that the guy kidnapped and he was like a child murderer or some shit? Yeah, this is where, like I said, this movie it has so much weird shit that doesn't make sense. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of movies that, especially horror movies, where you don't have to know the origin of the killer and so forth. He's just doing shit, just like with Terrifier. I have to mention that movie again. Terrifier, good shit. But so anyway, the girl Ashley gets fucking pulled into a closet, paranormal activity style. She gets pulled into a closet, and she somehow gets possessed. And they start showing her walking around in the ViewCon, and then a maid comes because her room's been trashed, of course, by Bobby. Every time I see the name Bobby, I think about Bobby's World. Remember Bobby's World? Yeah. But anyway, she's wandering around and shit. They have another couple of, of course, expendable cast members in the movie. They have this other guy who's with this other lady. They're having like a relationship, but she's actually got somebody who's kind of like a Logan Paul kind of guy. And yeah, I'm just gonna say that. So I'm trying to give a full synopsis of this movie because I really don't think people should just go watch it. I watched it because I was in the whim of just wanting to see what it was about. And like I said, for the most part, I'm not gonna sit there and you know what? I'm gonna scrape that. If you want to watch it, watch it. But for me, the fact that the way the movie is, it's 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 what it is. I've seen fucking cheesy ass movies. This movie's not cheesy to the point where you're like, oh, it's cheesy. It does have a couple of scenes in the movie that are actually kind of like jump scares, and they actually do have a good feel. So I'm not going to sit there and knock this movie too hard. And like I sit there and said, when you watch certain movies, especially if you watch movies that are on a lower budget, you have to give them a little bit of credit for what they did as it relates to putting the movie together. So with that due respect, Deadcon gets that. The reason I sit there and say this movie didn't make any sense is because the ending was just all up in the place. Okay, like we gotta give back to, like I said, the origin itself to me seems kind of backwards, because you have the guy who was doing something with the internet. He ends up getting emailed or something back in 1984 with a guy named a child named Bobby, and Bobby wants him to be his friend. But in the story arc as the movie goes on, it shows the guy leading the children. So was he Bobby or whatnot? And I don't have a clue. And was Bobby just a manifestation of a demon? But then again, you see the girl with the picture, 1984. They show archive footage on the internet of Bobby, this child that was missing, and they show a bunch of situations that shows the guy being the person that was the one kidnapping kids, killing them. So you don't have an idea of where the story really connects, because it makes you scratch your head every time you see it. That being said, like I say, it's a whole lot of extra stuff in this movie that just really doesn't connect. Um, and that's the reason I'm kind of like giving you pass or miss, because it really would if it, personally just miss it. But if you want to watch this, pass or miss. I said pass or miss, but anyway, yeah, I'm thinking both. Yeah, fuck it. The movie, like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just the fact that the plot doesn't make any sense, and then also the development of the characters. It doesn't come together like you want it to. Deadcon to me is a movie that I would not watch again. It was, I guess, good to just watch it the first time, but then again, when I watched it the first time, I'm like, what did I just watch? So to basically pull to the neats and areas of this movie. And like I said, would I sit there and say you want to watch this movie? Sure, give you a shot. Watch this motherfucker if you want to see some crazy shit that doesn't make sense. But that being said, yeah, Deadcon. This is Jughead 82 signing off.